All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. This is your episode of Shave and a Haircut. I'm your host, Kenneth Tramble, my co-host, Latonya Davis Tramble.
Good evening.
Welcome you guys for another exciting podcast today, entitled "Prepping for Our Leap Test." Prepping for our leap test. This is a little. Though it's not a know-it-all. I don't claim to know everything about it, but I have seen the process and how it went, how things are going through the leap test, and we've had tons of all our kids experienced the leap test and experienced. I think most kids have it like it's like stressful time, and we got to fix it where it's just like a regular test that they normally take. I think the teachers stress the importance of passing that test, and it kind of gives the kids, I think, me in my opinion, some anxiety issues that they before they're taking the test. So what we're going to try to do, we're going to try to create hopefully some suggestions, some ideas, some ways of taking the test, the ways to prepare yourself for the test, some suggestions, or and some parents we're gonna give you guys some ideas on what you can do to prepare your young scholar for the testing that's coming up. Should be coming up. It's end of March, maybe. I think it's end of March, if I'm not mistaken. Last week of March is supposed to start. I want you parents to be mindful of that because you got to start preparing your child in all kinds of ways, to get them ready for this testing. And it's a big deal for this test because also if you got a child that's got ambitions to go to college, so that testing is really important as well. So we got to make sure that our parents and our kids are prepared for that big anxiety push that these kids they get into, which they're going to most of the majority of the schools that I know they're already are prepping the kids for the test. They're already making suggestions for the kids for the test. They're already um as a matter of fact, should be sending some stuff home to you parents. What's that?
You hear me?
You gotta get closer. They're prepping the people for the test. So we've got some suggestions, and we got our narrator, which is gonna be my wife's gonna narrate a couple things that's gonna help you parents see. Also, my brother just tuned in. Okay, Jake's on there also from Handcuffing Keys. Welcome, young man. Welcome. And so we're getting them set up for the test, and we're gonna have come up with some ideas. Like I said, parents, if you should have gotten a letter or getting a letter coming close soon because every time before the leap test, they offer opportunities for the kids to come and stay after school and prepare themselves for the test. And so if you get a letter home, if you get a letter, don't be discouraged, don't be upset, don't get mad because your child got a letter. It's just to better your child. If we had those kind of things when we were growing up, extra help, we'd probably be better scholars than we were. I mean, like, we were pretty good scholars, but with extra help that's being provided now, man, the sky would be the limit. So I encourage you, parents, if you get a letter from the school, from the teacher asking you to put your child in after school study for lead test, do it. Okay. Those people that I'm pretty sure that stay close to there, you got to come pick them up. With if they stay far, they provide a bus to get them home. Now, we're gonna do that first topic, which is
Know what's on your test. The Louisiana Educational Assessment Program, which is LEAP, measures skills in English language arts, which is ELA, reading, writing, and grammar. They also do math, which is problem solving, algebra, and geometry. It varies by grade. Science, which is life, physical, and earth science. Social studies, which is history, civics, geography, and that's selected grades. And you can ask your teacher which subject applies to your child's grade.
there we go. So it's actually is it four through 12 that takes the lead test? Oh,
You know what?
we'll have to look at that. Jake, if you got a little time, look and see Who takes the test in Louisiana? Is it 3rd through 12 or is it 1st through 12? It might be 3rd through 12, but let me know what it is. But I'm pretty sure that it's somewhere in between them that grade perimeter that takes those tests. She gave you, what you're gonna be required to take and what it is: math, ELA, English, social studies.
It says 3 to 8, boom boom.
Three through 8. So
Mm-hmm.
3rd to 8. So 12th, like 9th, 10th grade don't take LEAP. They must take them different.
No, well, the high school take the LEAP test as well, 9th through 12th, but it's 3rd to, you start in the 3rd grade to the 8th grade.
Okay.
And then you go to high school and you take that LEAP test also.
Okay. So I was at 3rd grade. So it's never too late, parents, to start your kids, even in the 1st and 2nd grade, prepare them. That's what we lack up most of the time. We wait till that time of the test, and then instead of just prepping our kids over the summer, that's going to be 2nd grade going into the 3rd grade, we wait and we leave it up to the teachers. When in fact, we can help by doing a little math, a little reading, a little social science as well. So we need to make sure that we prep ourselves. So from 3rd to 12th grade is when we gonna be taking. And have they changed that? Is that a requirement to pass it now? To pass like your next grade, or is it?
I think you have to benchmark or something. You gotta be at least basic, I think.
Approaching basic, isn't it? Like approaching basic, can you be fine? But I think it's somewhere between there. If somebody's on right now, you see it, type in there what you suggestion. I think it's approaching basic you have to have in order to go to the next grade.
Yeah, and you got to meet the graduation requirements too. If you're in high school,
correct,
to graduate.
Okay, so you gotta be approaching basic and then actually basically pass your regular classes throughout the school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so we got to make sure, parents, that we're on top of this. If we're learning now, we got to be on top of this right now. We can't wait until March, in the beginning of March, end of March, trying to get your kid prepared, because it's important for your child to get ready for this thing, because this thing is pretty big and pretty huge. And so the educational process is changing every time you turn around. So we got to make sure that we're set.
All right. The next one is review key skills. Focus on skills you've learned this year, areas where you struggled, practice test or sample questions. Many schools provide LEAP practice tests online. Practice and help you understand questions and formats like multiple choice, short response, extended, which is say. The third is to practice smart study habits. Study in short sessions, 30 to 45 minutes. Take a short break. Use flashcards for vocabulary and formulas. Redo homework or quizzes you missed, and practice writing time response for ELA. If you're a high school student, especially like Algebra 1 or English 1 and 2, focus on explaining your thinking clearly in a written answer.
So that's what they got to do now. Basically, you got to show your work. Yeah. So basically, show your work. So it's like I said, a lot of stuff that they're preparing you for now can be done like right now, starting now. Instead of waiting till the very, very end, right before March, and say, hey, I want to try to study for this stuff. Parents, we got to make sure that we are vigilantly talking to the counselors, talking to the teachers, talking to the person that does the LEAP testing prep lady, making sure that we're on top of it. Even if your child is pretty good in school, that test it's stressful for a kid. So even if you think your child, I think he or she got it, it's still stressful. So if I was y'all, even if your child was smart, I would put him inside that tutoring anyway. Simple fact, the reason is you just don't know what might be on the test that is not being taught. And now that too, I talk about they tiny kids, that time is gonna be different. It's stressful when you're on the time to take a test. Keep let us in the focus on task at hand. Don't worry about nobody else around you. Just focus on what you're doing and see can you prepare yourself better. You got anything, Jake?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, baby girl.
Well, the next one is test taking strategies. Read directions carefully. Underline keywords in the question. Eliminate the wrong answer first. Show your work in math. Manage your time. Don't rush, but don't get stuck. And if you don't know an answer, make the best educated guess.
Huh. Test 101. We've been doing them tests like that forever.
Yeah.
You ain't know the answer, don't leave it blank. They always say, don't leave it blank.
Yep. Educated
Yeah,
guess.
your educated guess might be the right answer. So, you know, right. And if you some of the ones you know that's wrong, because there's some stuff on there you know that it makes absolutely no sense what goes with that question. Eliminate that first. Get educated guess. But on that same, you know, and when we in the military, told the same thing. Hey man, don't leave nothing blank. Just put something down there. It might be right. So we got to make sure that we talk to our kids about that, let them understand that about, you know, testing, and let that anxiety go, because it's gonna be, man, it's gonna be stressful. It's gonna be some stuff you're thinking about, and you know, it's gonna stress you out. And so we got to make sure that our kids understand and know that you can take your time, answer the questions, read the questions all the way through. Some of us read and think they know the answer and don't read the whole question and get the wrong answer. Maybe need to read it twice. Read it once and then read it again to make sure you understand what the question is before you even give an answer. I think that would help a lot of our kids out, because a lot of our kids get halfway through with that sentence and think they know the answer and don't get to the end when they tell you something different. And then you got the wrong answer because you didn't read the whole sentence. We got to make sure that our kids do that for well parents. Make sure they read those sentences thoroughly. Go ahead.
All right. The next one is to take care of yourself. The week of the test, get plenty of sleep, eat a good breakfast, stay hydrated, stay positive. Confidence makes a big difference. An extra tip for parents, they can help by setting a quiet study space, encouraging practice, and keeping a calm, supportive attitude.
Now, I would suggest, it says 2 weeks start prepping. I suggest they should start prepping now.
No, it said a week of the test.
Yeah, I mean by getting rest.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
because most of the kids these days now, they stay up so doggone late playing these games and systems. Their body's not adjusted to being in, because during the leap test, you're gonna be in one classroom for almost the whole day.
And get plenty of sleep, eat a good, stay hydrated and positive.
So that has to start like right now, parents. You got to start getting these kids. Hey,
That should be every day.
prepping them right now. Look, well, it's supposed to be every day, but now, if they hadn't do it, this should be the time you say, look, we got to buckle down. We got to put that game up at 7, 8 o'clock. We got to go to bed, get up, and get ready for this test. You got to practice staying woke, because man, when I tell you, you know, it's stressful and they're gonna be tired and sleepy. In that one room, you'll be there from I think 7 o'clock to 12 noon. In that one room, you in that one room. And they give you one bathroom break. So you really gotta focus on sitting still, not fidgeting, not being a disruptive person in the classroom, paying attention to what the teacher's telling you, listen to the instructions, the block instructions, making sure that you got your pencils and everything sharpened, and being prepared. So you got to imagine getting there at 8 o'clock and sitting in that room for 4 hours. 4 straight hours of taking a test. That's a long time. And that's a lot of stressful things going on. That's a lot of stuff you got to do. And then the teacher, you're going to be taking more than one, what's it called? One thing, more than one math. You're going to be taking math one time an hour, and you're going to take English. So it won't be,
different sections.
It'll be different sections. So you got to really follow those sections and be prepared. Because if you're not, it's going to go right past you. It's going to shoot right. It's going to go down even answer. So we got to make sure they get the rest for one. That's the most important thing. Start getting their mind and their body set up to be up that long. Get enough rest at night so you be prepared for the test. Parents, send them to school ready for the test. Don't frustrate them the day of the test. the whole month of that test, I strongly ask you not to make them upset because that's gonna bleed right into that classroom, and I guarantee you it's gonna show on that test.
Wait for after the
So
test.
we got to make sure. I know them sometimes they get on our best nerves, but we got to make sure during this testing time we got to say, okay, you know what? This is gonna be the time we're gonna let everything slide, let everything fall to the wayside, and we're gonna just put the test and the kids first. Yes. Suggestion back. Jake the Snake, got any suggestions?
No, those were some good suggestions.
What?
And keep, communication, like the day after the first test, you know, get them home and ask them how they feel, talk about it, try to give them a sense of comfortability and confidence. Therefore, something that fell short on the first day, they can kind of pick it up on the next day. Might not be that same section, but have a different kind of confidence for the next subject that they gonna do the next day.
Okay, that's good. So basically, keep them encouraged throughout every part of the test.
Kind of motivate them, you know, a little nudge, you know, nothing, you know, harsh or whatever, you know, during dinner, you know, y'all can talk about it if it's more than one of them, you know, just make a conversation out of it to make them feel comfortable. They might say something to you that you might can pass on to the teacher or something, or might get the confidence from you enough to ask a question or something if something going on with them during the test.
Okay, Jake.
This is ironic that you're talking about this because I was watching Lean on Me last week, and I was watching what's his name, Morgan Freeman.
Joe Clark.
Yeah, Mr. Joe Clark. He's walking up behind the girl while they were taking the practice test. And I'm gonna read you what the practice text said. It said, each morning Bernard has his customary breakfast of oatmeal, toast, and juice. Choose the word that means the same as the underlying word in the sentence. Customary. Is it A, fantasy? Is it B, special? Is it C, usual? Or D, strange? And the girl circled strange. And Crazy Joe, all he did was look and walked away. So that tells you something right there. And the girl just had her head on her hand like this when she was taking the test. She really wasn't even worried about it. So that tells you something about a child's frame of mind when they're taking the test. If they're not going there being serious about taking the test, if she could have just took her time and read that sentence carefully and understood each morning, Bernard has his customary breath. Now, customary.
That's usual.
If you take custom, another word for custom is usual. Yeah, they just put Mary on there. Customary, that's all. So if kids just take their time and just listen to the sentence and just like you said, read it again, and make sure you concentrate on that underlying word, right? Because that's what they're trying to get you to get the answer with that underlying word. But I'm gonna read some of the preparation strategies that they got in here for the LEAP test here in Louisiana. Now they got you can go online and take practice tests on the LEAP test, right?
Yeah,
I found that too. That's that's IXL Learning. You can go on there and
say it again. I can say it. Say it again. What's it called?
IXL Learning.
Okay.
.com, and you can go on there and there's some fun examples of the LEAP test that you can take. Try to get them interested in it. But on there, they're saying that some of the key strategies for prepping for the LEAP test. Take official practice tests. Now, the official practice test. When they say official, they don't mean what I just read to you. They mean they're going to have some sentences, some definitions, some words. They're going to have similar meaning to what you're going to be taking the test on when you take the official LEAP test.
Right.
So, it says build standard, practice sitting by extended periods of time to prepare for physical demand of long tests. What you was talking about earlier. You don't be able to go to the bathroom but one time. So just, hey, get used to it. Use online resources, what I was talking about earlier. Focus on wellness. Sleep routines, what you was talking about. Make sure you get some sleep. Read to yourself loudly to get your attention level up. Just keep a routine, maintain calm, consistent, and daily schedule. If you can do that, kind of like what we did when you at the sheriff's department, you at the marshal's office, me with corrections and working with detention. You know, we got a schedule from morning to evening. We got a schedule from going to sleep to waking up to eating lunch to going back to work to going back home. Stay positive. Communicate with the teachers. If you're having a problem with a subject, I remember Miss Lee, and I had a problem with English. I went to Miss Lee, and Miss Lee, you know, she stayed and helped me out. Use your teacher. That's what they for.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Right.
don't just say hey and bye when the bell rings. It don't work like that. If you haven't learned nothing by the time that bell rang in the morning to that bell rang in the evening, then you might well sit back down. It's going to be a long year. And talking from somebody like myself who actually in my freshman year I didn't pass. I goofed around, and I watched my class go in front of me, but I was determined to catch them, and I did. I caught them in the 10th grade. I took more classes than what I was supposed to take, and hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, forget them games, forget basketball, forget band, forget all that stuff. You better get that education together. Go through it all. That's the thing that's going to get you through life is education. It's not going to be those sports. Now, they're going to help once you get that education. Most definitely going to help. But if you don't have an education, you can't say, down, set. What does set mean? No, it's too late. You should have figured that out. And when you were in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, what set mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you got to get that education before you do all that. And in closing, boom, boom, LEAP test, I take it for what it means. That means leap your tail out of that bed. Go take that test. I remember when I took the test to go to NLU, that's when it was called NLU, and I had to get up at 6 in the morning and catch the bus, the city bus to NLU, and sit there and take that test for 4 hours to get into college. I forgot what that test was called, but it's more advanced than the LEAP test, though. But, you know, it's a test to get into college, that admittance. SAT, that's what it was, to take that test. So you just have to focus on what you're doing and just, you know, hey, say, this is something I want to do, I'm going to do, and I'm going to put my mind to it, and it's going to happen.
ACT test?
Yeah, it's SAT.
Yeah.
They take that in the senior, as
right.
a senior. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, read the comments from me.
Mr. Willis says, I think the system had made teachers instruct for taking a test. My bride was a teacher for 34 years, and she talked about this a lot.
Willie, you remember Willie Epstein, Jake?
No.
Yeah, he grew up with us. He lives in Texas now. And he talks all the time about, he said his wife, I wish he can get on here, because if his wife's a teacher, I definitely want her to get her.
34 years.
34 years. I definitely need to see her on here. So
we.
I know she knows some techniques and some ideas. Willie, if you still on here, man, hit me up, and I can add you and your wife on right now, and we could talk about the education, because we definitely need a teacher on here to really tell us what's going on and what we really need to find out what the kids are missing and the parents are missing. Because somewhere along that line, that's missing, because May and bust up and then what happened. And that's a lot of parents wait to May and bust up in there, and it's too late. You know, they just, it's just that mentality. It hadn't changed for a long time. I've seen a ton of parents go to Ouachita, come up in there around about late April, and their child is senior, and say, what we need to do. It's too late. It's too late. And they do that a lot. Instead of, you know, there are some sites that that you can go on. There are sites that you can go on right now. You can see your child's whole entire educational process from the day they started at parish school to where they at now. And then you can see where your child is struggling at. That is just common sense. If you look at your child's educational stuff and they teeter in that line in math all the way to 9th grade, 10th level, we got a problem with that. We got to fix it. We got to start talking to the counselor. We got to start talking to the teachers. And that's what's not being done till the last minute. And then they want to come in there and say, what can I do? I've been talking about this in August. School first started. You can go all the way back to all my podcasts, all the way back to August, even in the morning time. I talked about education and what they need to do in preparation for all this to this day right here, for this day to come. And if you prepared yourself from August all the way to now, leave just to be a walk in the park. You be able to come in there and take that test, and you hit the door with a smile. You come home, mama asks you how it was. Oh, mama, that was a breeze. You'll be confident with it. But you can't be confident with it because you didn't prepare yourself for it. And that's the problem. We don't prepare ourselves. We just fly up in there and here we go. Let's go with it. We struggle all the time with kids saying we don't have no homework. We don't have no homework. We don't have no homework. And I don't get it because even if they don't see you no homework, you did something in class. Right, Jake?
Say that again.
So if you did something in class, shouldn't that be homework? And all the kids say that we don't have no homework. We don't have no homework. We don't have no homework. Every time but during the class, she's giving you a block of instructions and teaching you stuff. Isn't that homework? You need to study that. Even if she don't tell you, that's common sense. If he's teaching you something to a problem in math and you writing it down, shouldn't you go home and practice? That's basically homework. You just didn't say it. She's preparing you throughout the day. You think just because she don't say you're going to see this again or this homework, it's not homework. But it's going to be on that test come Friday. So is it homework? Yes. If you are a smart person, you prepare yourself. When she writes this stuff down and tell you and write this on the board and you take all this practice throughout the day, you go home and you practice yourself. You don't just go home, throw the books down, and then start doing blocks or playing Madden or playing NBA Live or going outside and play. And that's what I don't understand. We have to sit down as parents and just say, hey, look, this is real important for you. If you want to go to college, if you want to do this, if you want to do that, you have to sit down and prepare yourself for this test. Because nowadays, Jake, I think every job you got to take a test now to get the job. You take a look.
If not take a test, it's something you're gonna have to qualify for.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, if you want to be a police, you gotta take a test. If you want to do computer work, you gotta take a test. You want to be a secretary, what you gotta do? You gotta type, you gotta take a test. So if you want to answer phone customer service, you gotta take a test. My baby work over there at the hospital. She had to take the test. Gotta know these codes. You can take a test.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to understand that. We got to prepare our kids right now for this world that's coming out. And have them prepare for this test like they're preparing for the rest of their life.
Because really they are.
Yeah. Because what are you doing? You preparing yourself, you're getting you some rest. You're taking a test to better yourself.
Yeah.
So you preparing yourself for a job because you got to get you some rest to get up. The test might be working on the machine. That's your test. That you're getting paid for the job, but that's your test. You go to a plant, you're working on a machine. That's basically your test. Because you can fail at that test and lose your job.
Yep, we take a test every year.
So we got to make sure that our kids understand how important it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Every year. I
take at least 6 of them. Use of force, sexual harassment. If they take a test, we take tests throughout. That's right. We take tests. If you got a job, you're going to take a test.
If I was called in service.
Even if you get the job. So we got to start preparing our kids for this test. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Police, you got to take a test for shoot your weapon, shoot the taser, use of force. All those tests have to be turned in.
And have to be
documented.
passed.
So we actually preparing our kids for testing. Yeah. So we got to prepare our kids. Hey, look, think of this as your future you taking right here when you take this test.
Preparation.
This is what people gonna see when they pull up your files. This is what they're gonna see when they look at you and say, "Let me look at Kenneth Trammell and see what he's done since he was in 4th grade on to 12th grade and in the college. I want to see where he was, see what he did, see what he accomplished, see what kind of test taker he was. Ooh, he looked like he did good on test. Stuff. They're gonna look and see."
Boom. Speaking of that, boom, boom.
Hmm?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was saying, speaking of that, boom, boom, you talking about how they gonna go and look you up for all your job history or your education history. They gonna look you up on his social media too. And like, oh, I see why he ain't passed.
Yep.
Look where he at. Look where we at the night before.
Yeah.
All that stuff. People they just leaving themselves wide open. And I want to speak to all. What about boom boom? Let me ask you a question. What about those parents that are doing the right thing, but their kids still failing?
If the parents are doing the right thing, the kids failing, that means we got to have a conversation with the counselor, the principal, and the teachers, and have a sit down and see where's that breakdown at. Because if the parent got the kid doing the homework, somewhere along that line, the kid's got some study problems. Maybe he or she need to be one-on-one classes. Maybe they need to be separated. Maybe they're not good test takers. They might be, sometimes we got people that's not good test takers. They homework and all that stuff, but just sucking taking tests, they get anxiety. And so what they normally do is sit down with the council and they formulate a plan and say, okay, what we need to do is fix this where he or she is confident in taking the test. We know she knows the work, he or she knows the work, but the testing gives them a person anxiety. And so what we need to do is have a sit down with the counselor, principal, and I think it's a lady they have that comes to the school that actually helps out with that part, and then tackle it that way. If anybody's got a suggestion, type in there if you got any suggestions about what he just asked about. Also, I see we got about 6 people on. So if you listen and you are an educator or you are a parent, if you have a question, just type in the URL over there and we'll see if we can answer it. But you're right. Sometimes a kid, parent make sure he's doing his homework, making sure he or she's turning in stuff, making sure he or she's studying. Like I said, that anxiety is some of these kids, this generational kids, they worry like it's no tomorrow. We just get up there and take tests. Hey, turn it in. It is what it is. But like I said, we got to do more better. We got to do a better way of actually seeing that too, Jay. Because some teachers, they have enough time to see that child having issues and struggling with tests. They just going through the day. So that's my answer to that question right there. Try to have them separate them from the group and have them take the test. That's
what about those that don't want to learn?
You talking about the kids?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And there's some out there, you know that.
We gotta remove that kid from that environment because that could bleed off on the rest of the other kids.
I agree.
Why is he get exception to rules, sit down, don't do anything? I gotta take the test. So that person put to a step out where they can just put them in the test. By matter of fact, they might just test them by themselves. Period. After the testing period's over with. If you got a kid, I'm pretty sure they've got their share of kids that's on the list that they say, okay, we need to do something with this child. And they put them in, and I'm not mistaken, they put them in separate rooms anyway. Them kind of kids like that.
Well, they got another place where they test them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the juvenile center.
It's got some bars with
it. Did you know that seriously though? They actually test those kids.
Yeah.
When they first get
to school. Yeah, they go to school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they test them there too. They even test them in the corrections. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. So you can either take the test in front of bars or you can take the test behind bars. It's up to you.
Yeah. So we got to make sure they know that. So parents, we want you guys. This is not going to be a long one today. We're going to probably go to about 5 more minutes, which would be 3:40. That'll be 40 minutes, and we'll stop there. But I want to make sure that the parents understand that, man, that this is an important thing. This LEAP test. Somebody just put something on there. You see it,
Mr. Gray. He said he disagreed with Darius' children out there that don't want to learn. I think there's not enough ways of method to reach. Hold on, where did I go? I just lost it. Reach every child. I speak from my own experience, being that through having children of my own, found out what it was. Some of my learning disabilities that I didn't know, I had to say, you got them out there. They don't want to learn. I feel that's wrong to say, and that it's all about how you're reaching and they can't be reached.
Okay.
Herbert Gray. Herbert
So
Gray.
let me
Herbert Gray.
read
I
this.
remember that.
Okay. I have so you got them out there that's talking online. Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. What we're saying is you got a
Yeah, we're
child
talking
out
about
there that
something
just
totally different.
not. Yeah,
A rebellious
yeah.
child.
We talking about we're not
Yeah.
talking about a child that has a disability. That's what I said
No.
earlier when I said those kids need to be separated and put in a certain spot so they can take the test and anxiety. You know, sometimes, like I said, kids have that anxiety where they really
Mhm.
struggle taking tests around people, and what most schools do is they put them in a separate room with other kids that struggle, or put them in a room by
In a
themselves,
smaller setting.
silent sledding, so they can get the test done. So we was
Same
talking
thing
about
with
kids
my
that just
son.
refuse to take the test anyway. Yeah, and so that's what he was talking about when he said that. But we want to make sure that, and that's a good
That's a good
ask
example.
question, Mr. Gregor. Look, you be on. I see you over there in the morning time too when I be early in the morning. So you see what I do every morning when I talk to kids. So all we trying to do is put out some information to help the kids that are getting ready for this test that's coming, because it's so important that they be prepared for this test. That they, sometimes I don't think they think it's important. Like the teachers are pushing it, you know. And I think it need to be a different type of avenue to push it. And I think we should be teaching LEAP tests all year long. That way, when they take the test, matter of fact, I think some of the tests they should be taking is LEAP test questions. But don't tell them that. But let them know that they taking a LEAP test, and let them know they're taking a test. And when they see that test, they'll be prepared for it.
Yes,
Mhm.
because the bottom line is every child deserves to learn.
Right.
Every child learns differently, but every child has the right to be taught what they need to learn in order to function in the world.
Right. Preparation. We know we got to prepare our kids for success. That's one thing I do know. And over the 29, 30 years that I've been working with kids and law enforcement and doing it on my own now, I know that I always said there's no such thing as a bad kid. They get put in bad situations, they get put around bad people, which turns into it and make bad choices.
Yes.
And so that's been my thing forever. Any child, at least I do. Every child I walk across in the hallways, I always stop. I don't care what they done in the classroom. I don't even ask them. I just talk about life and what happens while you own the classroom. I don't know. As you realize on this hallway, you're missing what? Block of instructions. You're missing what? It might be a test. You're missing what? Stuff for the test. I don't care what you did in there. All I'm saying is what you missing right now. So when you think about it, the next time you get ready to get in trouble, you think about what Mr. Trammell said. Hey, if I get in trouble on the hallway, I'm missing this. I'm missing that. I'm not getting the information that I need. I'm not getting prepared for the test. If she's going over the test like right now for tomorrow, I'm missing that. That's the most important part some people miss. But we don't understand now, like nowadays, these parents, these teachers, they are practically going over the test with the kids before the test. They might just change the way the questions are formatted, but they're actually going over it. And all they got to do is just pay attention, write down what they say, go home and study. It is so easy now than what it was when we was in school. It is so easy now. I mean, easy. That's an easy piece of Japanese. It is so easy now.
Yep. They have to pay attention.
That's it. And then the grade scale. Woo!
Oh yeah.
I've been a
The grade scales they got now. I mean, it's curved for these kids to be successful. Boy, I'd have been one of them ones you'd be like, ooh, that's good boy. Hercules. Boy, I'd have been, look at here. The way these grades, the way they curve these grades now, I'm at the beg for teacher. Hey, you know you can give me 1 point. I ain't had to worry about that. That point was already there.
Exactly. Or do extra work. For
Yeah,
extra
you know,
points.
all the stuff they doing now, kid, we gotta take advantage of it, young scholars. We're not taking advantage of it. Homework sometimes is 5 points on your test. Doing your dibbles is like another 3 points on your test.
And some of them don't even check to see if it's right or wrong.
All they want
As
to
long as
see
you
if you did some
attempted to
work.
do it.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't get it. I don't know why our kids won't just, hey guys, all y'all got to do is just show effort. Show effort. And man, look, I'm telling you, I've watched kids in classrooms and teachers be like, let me see your homework. I ain't do it. And then turn around and need them 5-10 points that they could have got for that test to pass, and they didn't do it.
Because they didn't apply themselves.
They didn't apply themselves. So, you know, it's not to say the parents are not doing their job. The parents, sometimes your kids are slick. You just got but nowadays you got it now. All you gotta do is get on that computer and go on the educational, or whatever they call it, but you can see all their grades, you can see all their testing, you can see everything they do prior to testing. You can see the test that they made, the score that they made, you can see what they did on the test, you can see if they did their homework. All you gotta do is to look.
Mm-hmm.
If you that child, I mean that parent that does that and go to the school and talk to the teacher, she's gonna help. She's going to see that you're trying to be that parent that's going to be involved in your child educational process. You're that parent that wants to make sure that your child doing their homework in. We're going to come with a solution.
That's right. That parent that gets a phone call or a text. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to come to a solution. We're going to try to fix this thing. And that's what they're missing. So, we passed our time.
I'm sorry.
Anybody out there wants to end with anything, want to say anything, want to chime in right now? You got about a minute or two. Yeah, you can talk what if they thinking, and we'll go on after that.
You said I could talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, to me, it's like this, boom boom. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you want something, you're gonna go get it. People want to play football, so that's why they try out. People want to play baseball, that's why they try out. People want to be policemen, that's why they take a test. Well, if you want to achieve all those goals, then you have to get your education first. Bottom line. You got to get your education first. And if you like it, like math wasn't my favorite subject. But now, these kids, they give them these. And they can go in there and put an equation or some type of math problem in there, and it'll show them how to get to the answer, block by block, how to get the correct answer. We didn't have that. We actually had to sit with somebody, and that person would show us block by block. But now this generation is ahead of us, and they got all the tools in front of them, but refuse to use them. Or if they refuse to use them, maybe let me say something. If they're not refusing to use them, they don't know how. And if they don't know how, then they just don't want to. It's got to be one, because it's there for them. Is either at school, because I know the school has internet, because they get them on our computers. And at home they got internet, because even if you have a poverty level at home, they got that I forgot what it's called, where you can get the internet for like $10 a month or something like that, and they'll give you a phone, all that stuff. It's like giving to help your child learn. That's what all that stuff is for. So, like I was telling you before, what if their parent is doing the right thing and they doing all that, and the kid still is not doing what it takes to get through school? Well, like you said, you need to get them in there with the guidance counselor, get in there with the subject, the teacher that's teaching that subject, and sit there and talk about what they need to do in order to get them up to that level where they can pass. So in closing, I think all the kids, everybody's going to get an opportunity, and we can teach them, the parents and the teachers. But I'm going to tell you this, that LEAP test is something that it's going to help you. But once you get past that LEAP test and pass high school, then it's up to you to take what you've learned and apply to whatever you want to do in life. So that's what I want to take.
Okay. Okay. Anything you want to close with?
Yes, keep the lines of communication open. The child is the bridge. Mama talk to child, talk to teacher if need to. Wait, teacher talk to child, talk to mama if they need to, and have the child where they're comfortable enough to talk to mama or teacher.
It was. Communication is the key to success. Communication. That means we need to make sure that we're communicating with the teachers, like she said, teachers communicating with the parents, parents communicating with the kids, teachers communicating with the counselors. Everybody needs to talk to each other.
That's right.
And if that don't work, get that rod.
That's the focus.
And I'm not talking about
That's
that.
it. At the end of the day, the young man, the young lady, scholar, most important. Huh? What'd you say?
I say, if that don't work, get that rod. And I'm not talking about that fishing rod. I'm talking about what the Bible said.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you got to. I'm a witness.
That's gonna be the topic of another conversation. That's gonna be the next topic.
What you gonna call it? Whoop that at?
Disciplining your child. What's no.
Hey, I think
we're gonna talk about that part right there.
I think that needs to be on my
Hopefully
channel.
I get enough people. Herbert, I want you to come on, man, because they look. Take your comments. Matter of fact, yeah, that's absolutely. I'm gonna find some way, Herbert. I'm gonna send you an invite, so I'm gonna add you on with us when you come on. If that's okay with you, you can come on and be on the screen as well, and we have your comments as well if you want to be on to talk as well. You and Mr. Epstein, we get at least 6 people on here and talk. So at least I can put 6 on here where everybody can talk and be on there. We need a bigger panel. We need some more people on there that's just going on. Hey, like you just said, Herbert, I definitely need that 34-year teacher on here because she definitely got some insight and some. She's been around the block. She probably educated over thousands and thousands of kids. So she's seen the ones that got learning disabilities. She's seen the ones that are struggling in class. She's seen the ones that don't want to do nothing, and she formulated a plan. So we definitely need her on next time we come on as well. And like I said, my podcast is every other Tuesday. So next Tuesday will be off, but the next Tuesday after that we'll be on again. And I think, when is yours, Jake?
We're gonna try to hit it Friday, dog. We're gonna try to hit it Friday. I think it's gonna be called whooping ass. So
okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna be on Handcuff and Keys podcast, by the way. It's not gonna be on Shave and a Haircut. Handcuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I got all types.
As always, guys, like and share this page, man. Like and share this page. And if you got any questions, please put it down and let us know. I mean, like I said, we don't have all the answers, but I love to see the comments afterwards so I can kind of talk back and forth with you guys and see how you feel about what's going on and what suggestions we can do and make this thing better. Like I said, all we trying to do is help. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We trying to make sure our kids are being successful. And like I said, me being a law firm, I'm tired of seeing them I'm tired of kids not having suggestions or no ideas to make me successful. That's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna stop. In closing, quit yelling at your kids at night.
Ooh.
Make sure they get sleeping right. Especially quit yelling at kids in the morning and make sure that they're getting the opportunity to pass. Right? Speak love, speak honesty, speak grace, speak Saving a Haircut. I'm your host, Kenneth Tramble, my co-host LaTanya Tramble.
Good evening.
And my brother Jacob Tramble. Until next time, we see y'all later. Love you guys. Peace.
Deuces.